All right, I'm gonna try to do this again. This is my quick review of Captain Nauticus and the Ocean Force. It is by the National Maritime Center. This one is from, and it's a special limited edition. This background drawing right here, and I think it's an actual place in Norfolk, Virginia. This was printed in May 1994. Phantom is the bad guy, who is right here. The interesting thing is the internal art is actually better than the cover art. While the cover art's not terrible, it's not the best. And I would have to give it a D, which is barely passing. I think they could have done a better job by pulling some of the interior art and throwing it on the front. Like this is good. That ship is good. I can't find the name of any of the artists or writers so far. Let's go to the back because I want to explain a little bit more what this is. There are only 2 comics that are made, numbers 1 and 2, but at that time they had a lot of hopes for it. So get 4 more exciting issues, a season pass to Nauticus. We'll talk about that in a minute. For $19.95, $2.99 for $2.95 per issue times 4, plus a pass to the Nauticus, which is a child's anytime season pass. It's $40. You know the child is not going to go alone, obviously. So it looks something like that, and you can get it right here. Now I wonder if anybody here is watching this. Did you get a subscription to this? And what did they do to compensate for the other issues that never came? Or was it actually exciting? The Nauticus, there's some information like it's teaching you something in here. All right, so take a virtual adventure at Nauticus. And it explains what virtual reality is. And then it talks about when you go to the Nauticus at Norfolk, Virginia, you get to experience this for yourself. So it's kind of like, you know, back then, I remember, what was that movie with the comedian? Was it Sinbad and the president's kid? And he was in this virtual reality. It's like they threw it in there and it made no sense for the story whatsoever. But they just had to have, oh my gosh, let's put virtual reality and everything. And then that whole Lawnmower Man movies, awful movies. It was like they were really, really hoping virtual reality would take off. So it was like the new cutting edge thing. There's also a puzzle in here to do, like to find the word find. So I feel like I'm in elementary school again. There's also the information about each one of these, which I kind of wish they'd have put at the beginning. So there are 5 crewmen. Wave is 25. Moray and Sting are both 18. They're twins, and this is their bios if you want to pause it. I'm not going to read it. Captain Nauticus, now also all of these other guys, including Orc, they can transform into a sea animal, and you'll see that whenever I go over the actual comic book. Captain Nauticus, age is unknown. Those are our crew members. Zach is the kid who is 10, who's the last Atlantean. He will appear in this comic. Phantom is the bad guy that's seen on the very first spread. All right, let's get into the comic book now. So we got some pretty good art right there, and we got a story, and this reminds me of all those Image comics of the 90s where it was just action. It was extreme action. It doesn't ever slow down much at all to reflect on anything, which I find a little bit okay. So it's fine, it's not terrible, it's not preachy, it's not like, oh, if you don't save the oceans, you're gonna be canceled, or so it's not like, it's not printed in the year 2020 and plus. This was back in the 90s where we tried to help other people to understand our plight, but we didn't make them feel like they're evil if we did, and kind of like the opposite of 2020. So we got along back then if we had political differences or ecological differences without making people feel like they're the scum of the earth. So anyway, we get to see the crew. This is Captain Nauticus. This girl right here is Wave. This is Orc. I'm guessing that's one of the guys. I can't remember the name of the 2 twins. They weren't they weren't as featured in this story. And that's why I'm thinking if you have 5 people, you should really spend a little more time building them up. But it's kind of just rushing into it, trying to really just sell you, exciting tickets to their thing. So they go through a wormhole trying to capture him, and they call this wormhole a black hole. I guess before Deep Space Nine, black holes either they took you to other dimensions or worlds, or they killed you. And now we kind of call those things wormholes. So while they're trying to capture him, they get a tractor beam on him, and he goes off into a black hole, and they're like, we don't know what would happen. And well, they went to another universe, which happens to be, according to the Atlantean legend trait charts, the legend of Atlantis impossible. Yet, there they are. They're in our solar system. What a coincidence. They track him to a planet called Earth, which is interesting because when Atlantis was here, it wasn't called Earth. It was called Gaia. So, but let's just keep on rolling. So this is the girl who is one of the twins, and that other guy was the other twin. Now, see, whenever Captain Nauticus gets out of the ship to go after him, they all turn into sea animals, orc, and I don't know the other ones off the top of my head. And he can't transform for some reason. It doesn't explain why. It just says that he's the only one who doesn't. So for some reason they're at this place, which is, I guess, the place in Norfolk, Virginia they're trying to push for a reason it's there. It's like there. And then they go off to Atlantis. Why they stop there, it doesn't make it very clear. They're like, let's explore this new place. Okay. I think they said Chesapeake, but anyway. Then they go down to find Phantom, which evidently they tracked him to this place, which they find out is the remains of Atlantis. There's a kid in here that's, and it says Gray Skull, which I think is so interesting. Gray Skull's Ark, a young boy, he's suffocating. Let's get him out. Wave rescues the boy, and he freaks out when he wakes up, of course, because everything's got to be extreme in the 90s. And she tries to calm him down. Here's a good picture of all of them. We got the captain, we got the twins, we got Orc, we got Wave, and we got what's your name? My name is Dave, and his name is Zach. So you're not the grokking creep who stole all the power. So he stole the crystal from there. Evidently, the power crystal was keeping some of them alive, and evidently everybody else is dead, which I don't see any other pods, which I guess they don't want to make us think, well, where are all the other dead people then? So for some reason, he has a suspended animation for thousands of years. Yeah, I don't know. So the bad guy steals the crystal, so they're going into the deep trenches to going after him. Here they go, fight. Of course, it's fight. Because, comics aren't exciting unless you're fighting nonstop. I'm trying to get these pages apart. This is the plastic paper. Oh, in the middle, there is a poster. But if you tear the poster out, you also tear the story out. So, just curious to me about, here was a good way to know their names. Here's Sting. The boy is named Sting. And the girl is named Moray. And it shows their creatures they turn into. He obviously turns into a stingray. She turns into a Moray right there. Orc is the whale in the bag. And Wave, I'm not quite, I can't figure out, oh, maybe she's the seal? Maybe Zach's the seal. I don't know. It says in the information, so if you paused it, you could have figured that out. All right, so then they go down into the deep, and then he for some reason, they keep getting out of their ships. I don't understand what the point of that is. But like I said, there's a lot of loopholes in this. So the story is like, it's a D, it's passable. I didn't feel like I was wasting my time or getting preached at. So, I mean, it's just, and I do kind of want to read issue number 2 if I ever find it, to find out the conclusion to this. The art right here reminds me a lot of like a 90s, like it just looks like copy paste 90s stuff. I mean, right there, that's totally void from Wildcats or something. It just looks like it. Everybody's always in these like fully buff and action poses. And so they get out of their ship and they tell Zach to stay put. But of course, Zach's not going to stay put because he's a kid. So he's going to go out after them. And so Maury turns into an eel and they're all fighting. And he's got the crystal right there that the boy's trying to rescue because he's got some kind of psychic link with it. And they're like, Zach, no. Of course he's not going to listen. He's a kid. You should have locked him in there. And now the crystal of Atlantis. He's like, oh, gulp. So that's where we leave the cliffhanger at, where the kid's in the mouth of the monster. Is he really going to eat him? Because in technicality, wouldn't that be kind of like cannibalism? Anyway, and then it gives all that information we saw at the beginning. So this review goes out to Metarog, who always likes these kind of comics that promote things, or I forgot what he calls them, but basically like the Shoney's Breakfast Boy or whatever. Again, it's whatever, like, oh, and like the electric company, things like that. This is clearly sent out or given out at when you go into the place, I'm guessing, to get you to, oh, this is so exciting. We're going to go back to school and tell all my friends about it. I'm just curious if anybody's actually been to the Nauticus in Norfolk, Virginia, or Chesapeake. It also said Chesapeake, but I think it's in Norfolk. They must be right beside each other or something. Kind of like, technically, this is, well, anyway, I'm going to say, I think my mailing address is not the same as where I'm living at, technically. So, So I'm just curious if anybody's actually been there. If you joined this, I just would find it fascinating to find out what happened. Why did this not happen for more issues? Did it? Maybe my CLZ app is just not up to date because, nobody cared about, putting this on their CLZ app to begin with, maybe. I don't know. But it makes me curious. So let me know in the comments below if you have any connection to this at all. And what did you think of it? Now, I don't remember all the things I was supposed to tell. The story, I'd give it a D. The artwork on the cover, I'd give it a D. The inside art, I give it a C. It's not as bad. It's average. I mean, sometimes it's a B or even an A. Like, I like this a lot. I like this a lot. But then where I showed you the two-dimensional, I don't like that as much. So you have to take the average of all that. And the overall concept, it's been done before. I feel like I've I've read this story several times that people that come to Earth and try to save the Earth. Is this Captain Planet? I don't know. But I mean, the storyline, its originality, I would give it a D maybe. I feel like I don't feel like it was like terrible. I don't feel like it was like completely stolen. Like, oh look, this is a Kryptonian, or this is a Baptonian that came to Earth from a dying planet. He was the last of his kind. Oh, where have I heard that before? It wasn't like that. So, but his planet was, this guy right here did pretty much destroy their planet. That's why they're pursuing him, because they're basically police and he's a criminal. I don't think I failed to mention that. I tried to make a video before this, but my cat kept meowing and meowing and meowing. I was like, oh my gosh, go away. It's like, I've been out here all day and suddenly he started meow, 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 meow. It's like they know when the camera's on and they have to pretend for it. So yeah, there's a lot of, I like this art. This is really good. And remember, this was done before computers. I also find it really weird that the line on the side is very thin. The one in the middle is thick, which is fine, which is good, but it's kind of unusual. And the bottom's got a lot of frame. So I do find that interesting. I don't know if they were meant to be smaller issues or something. But I do feel like some of that's like, man, that feels so cut and paste from something else. I can't quite put my finger. It's something Image. It's definitely something Image. An Image, like every comic you bought from Image, it feels like it's the same thing over and over again with just a different name and a different color variation of the characters. Well, I better go so these cats can start meowing again. Finally, I got them to stop. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching.